Join me as we explore the life of Emperor Trajan, a towering figure in Roman history, and uncover the secrets behind his incredible rise to power. Trajan is often hailed as one of Rome's greatest emperors, a leader who presided over the empire at its territorial zenith. His reign, 98 to 117 AD, is often regarded as the golden age of the Roman Empire, a period marked by military conquests, administrative excellence, and ambitious public works. But what set Trajan apart from other emperors? How did he manage to leave such an enduring legacy? At the height of his rule, the Roman Empire stretched from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to Mesopotamia. Trajan was not only a skilled military commander, but also a pragmatic administrator who implemented policies that strengthened Rome's economy and infrastructure. His military campaigns brought immense wealth and prestige to the empire, solidifying his reputation as a formidable leader. The state of the Roman Empire before Trajan. Before Trajan ascended to the throne, Rome was a vast and complex empire, ruled by a succession of emperors who ranged from the competent to the utterly corrupt. The empire faced internal power struggles, economic difficulties, and border conflicts. Domitian, the last emperor of the Flavian dynasty, had ruled with an iron fist, suppressing opposition and creating an atmosphere of fear. His assassination in 96 AD paved the way for Nerva, a short-lived but crucial transitional figure who stabilized the empire by selecting Trajan as his heir. Trajan's rise to power. Born in 53 AD in Italica, a Roman colony in Hispania, modern-day Spain, Trajan was among the first emperors of provincial origin. His father, Marcus Ulpius Traianus, was a respected general and senator, a background that paved the way for Trajan's own military career. Rising swiftly through the ranks, he gained distinction as a commander in Germany and later served as governor of Upper Germany. Nerva's adoption of Trajan in 97 AD was a masterstroke in securing stability after Domitian's tyrannical rule. Trajan's popularity with the army made him an ideal choice, ensuring a smooth transition upon Nerva's death in 98 AD. Unlike many emperors who had to fight for power, Trajan assumed control without conflict, marking the beginning of an era of expansion and reform. Military conquests and expansion. Trajan's reign is most famously associated with the expansion of Roman territory. He led several successful campaigns that significantly increased the empire's borders. The Dacian Wars were two significant military conflicts fought between the Roman Empire, under Emperor Trajan, and the Dacians, led by King Decebalus, in the early 2nd century AD. The wars, which occurred in two main campaigns, 101 to 102 AD and 105 to 106 AD, were pivotal in securing Roman dominance in southeastern Europe and expanding the empire's borders. Here's an in-depth look at the wars. Background and context. Dacia. The Dacians lived in the region known as Dacia, which roughly corresponds to modern-day Romania and parts of surrounding countries like Moldova, Serbia, and Bulgaria. The Dacians were a tribal people with a highly developed culture, known for their skilled warriors and formidable fortresses. Roman expansion. During the reign of Emperor Trajan, Rome was expanding its borders, seeking to gain control over the resource-rich territories beyond its frontiers. Dacia, with its valuable gold mines and strategic location, became a target for Roman conquest. Previous conflicts. Prior to the Dacian Wars, the Romans had made several attempts to subdue Dacia. Emperor Domitian had fought several campaigns in the region, but they ended inconclusively and without full Roman control over Dacia. After Domitian's death, Trajan took a more aggressive approach to deal with the Dacians. First Dacian War, 101 to 102 AD. Prelude. King Decebalus, ruler of Dacia, had previously threatened Roman territories, prompting Trajan to launch a military campaign. Decebalus had also gained some Roman deserters and defectors, which allowed him to bolster his forces. Roman strategy. Trajan planned a thorough invasion of Dacia. The Roman army crossed the Danube River into Dacia, advancing along the river's northern bank. Trajan's forces had a strategic advantage, as they built a massive bridge across the Danube, near the modern-day town of Turnus-Severin, to allow for the movement of troops and supplies. Key battles. One of the significant engagements of the First Dacian War was the Battle of Tapi, which took place in 101 AD. Though the Romans won the battle, they faced strong resistance from Decebalus's forces, who used the mountainous terrain to their advantage. Roman legions eventually forced Decebalus to retreat, and the war concluded with a Roman victory. Treaty and aftermath. The war ended in 102 AD with a peace treaty. Decebalus was forced to accept humiliating terms, including the surrender of prisoners, the destruction of his fortresses, and the recognition of Roman suzerainty over Dacia. However, Decebalus was allowed to remain as king under Roman oversight. Second Dacian War, 105 to 106 AD. Decebalus's resurgence. Following the peace treaty, Decebalus rearmed and rebuilt his forces, preparing for a renewed conflict with Rome. He sought alliances with other tribes and made efforts to recover from the Roman-imposed restrictions. Despite his earlier defeat, Decebalus was determined to retain Dacian sovereignty. Roman preparation. Trajan's second campaign against Dacia was far more decisive. He built an even more formidable bridge across the Danube River, the famous Trajan's Bridge, which allowed the Roman army to move quickly into Dacia. The Romans also brought a massive army, reportedly numbering around 150,000 soldiers, including elite legions, auxiliary forces, and engineers. Key battles. Battle of Sarmizegetusa. The decisive battle of the Second Dacian War was the siege of the Dacian capital, Sarmizegetusa Regia, which was heavily fortified on a plateau in the mountains. The Romans eventually breached the city after a prolonged siege, using advanced siege techniques and artillery. Roman tactics. Trajan's use of military engineering, such as siege towers, ramps, and artillery, was pivotal in breaking Dacia's defenses. The Roman army also had significant logistical support, which allowed them to maintain a prolonged campaign in harsh conditions. Destruction of Dacia. After the fall of Sarmizegetusa, Decebalus fled, but he was pursued by the Romans. The Dacians were decisively defeated, and the Roman Empire annexed Dacia as a province. Decebalus ultimately committed suicide rather than be captured. Consequences. The conquest of Dacia marked the expansion of the Roman Empire into a highly strategic and resource-rich region. Dacia's gold mines were particularly important for the Roman economy. Following the conquest, Dacia was incorporated into the Roman Empire as the province of Dacia. Roman victory and aftermath. Romanization of Dacia. After the conquest, the Romans established military colonies and settlements in Dacia. The province became an important part of the Roman Empire, especially due to its mineral resources. Roman influence rapidly spread, and Dacia underwent a process of Romanization, with the Dacian people adopting Roman culture, language, and customs. Trajan's triumph. Trajan celebrated his victory over the Dacians with a grand triumph in Rome in 113 AD. This celebration included a massive procession, displays of loot, and the unveiling of Trajan's column, a monumental marble column that depicted scenes from the Dacian Wars. The column is one of the most important surviving sources for understanding the military tactics and operations of the Roman army during the campaigns. Economic impact. The gold mines of Dacia were of great importance to Rome, providing a significant boost to the empire's finances. The wealth from Dacia helped fund further military campaigns and infrastructure projects across the empire. Key figures. Trajan, the Roman emperor who led the campaigns. Trajan is considered one of Rome's greatest military commanders, known for his strategic planning and decisive leadership. His conquest of Dacia added substantial wealth to the Roman Empire and significantly expanded its territory. Decebalus, the king of Dacia, who was a capable and resilient leader. Despite his eventual defeat, he is remembered for his tenacity and his efforts to resist Roman expansion. He employed guerrilla tactics and tried to modernize Dacia's military forces to face the Roman threat. Cultural and architectural legacy. Trajan's column. The column, erected in Rome, remains one of the most famous depictions of Roman military history. The detailed reliefs carved into the column show scenes from the Dacian Wars, including battles, sieges, and the engineering feats used by the Romans. Romanization. Following the wars, the process of Romanization greatly influenced the Dacian population. Latin became the dominant language, and Roman customs, architecture, and law were introduced. This influence can still be seen in the Romanian language, which is a Romance language, and in various aspects of Romanian culture. Strategic importance. Control of the Danube. By securing Dacia, the Romans effectively controlled the Danube River, which was an important boundary of the Roman Empire. This control allowed for easier movement of troops and goods across the empire. Resource acquisition. Dacia's vast mineral wealth, particularly its gold mines, became a crucial asset for Rome. The acquisition of these resources helped stabilize the empire's economy and funded further military campaigns. Conclusion. The Dacian Wars were a defining moment in Roman imperial history, showcasing the empire's military prowess and the strategic importance of Dacia. Trajan's campaigns not only expanded the empire's territory but also enriched its coffers, setting the stage for further imperial expansion and the consolidation of Roman power in the region. The Parthian campaign, 113 to 117 AD, was a major military expedition led by the Roman Emperor Trajan against the Parthian Empire, Rome's long-standing eastern rival. This campaign was part of Rome's broader attempts to exert influence over Mesopotamia and secure its eastern frontier. Here is an in-depth look at key aspects of this campaign. Background and causes. Roman-Parthian rivalry. The Romans and Parthians had been in conflict since 53 BC, when the Roman general Crassus was defeated at the Battle of Carrhae. Both empires vied for control over Armenia, a strategically vital buffer state between the two powers. Parthian interference in Armenia. In 110 to 113 AD, the Parthian king Osroes I deposed the pro-Roman Armenian king and replaced him with his own nephew. This was seen as a direct challenge to Roman authority, prompting Trajan to intervene. Trajan's expansionist policy. Trajan sought military glory and territorial expansion. He aimed to surpass previous emperors by permanently integrating Mesopotamia into the Roman Empire. Course of the campaign. First phase, 113 to 114 AD, the invasion of Armenia. Early success. Trajan personally led Roman legions into Armenia. The Roman forces quickly overran Armenian resistance, deposed the Parthian puppet king, and annexed Armenia as a Roman province. A new client king, Parthamaspates, was installed under Roman oversight. Second phase, 115 to 116 AD, the conquest of Mesopotamia. Advance into Parthian territory. Roman legions crossed the Tigris River and seized Nisibis and Edessa. In 116 AD, Trajan captured Ctesiphon, the Parthian capital. The Romans reached the Persian Gulf, marking the easternmost expansion of the Roman Empire. Creation of new provinces. Trajan formally annexed Mesopotamia and Assyria as new Roman provinces. Roman forces also advanced into Babylonia. Third phase, 116 to 117 AD, revolts and Roman retrenchment. Parthian counterattacks. Parthians launched guerrilla-style attacks and rebellions broke out in Babylonia and Mesopotamia. Rome struggled to hold the newly conquered regions. Jewish revolts, Keto's War. Simultaneous Jewish uprisings erupted in Cyrenaica, Egypt, Cyprus, and Judea, overstretching Roman resources. Health issues and Trajan's withdrawal. Trajan, in declining health, abandoned further eastern campaigns. He left Hadrian, his eventual successor, in charge. Aftermath and impact. Hadrian's retrenchment, 117 AD. Trajan died in August 117 AD. His successor, Hadrian, reversed Trajan's conquests, withdrawing Roman forces from Mesopotamia and Assyria. Armenia was restored as a client kingdom. Parthian resurgence. The Parthians regained control over Mesopotamia and continued to challenge Rome for another century. Legacy of the campaign. Despite initial successes, Trajan's conquest was short-lived. The campaign demonstrated the difficulty of holding Mesopotamia, which would remain a contested frontier for centuries. The failure foreshadowed later Roman difficulties in maintaining eastern conquests. Key figures. Trajan led the campaign and achieved Rome's largest territorial expansion. Osroes I, Parthian king, c. 109 to 129 AD, opposed Rome but was temporarily overthrown. Parthamaspates, installed as a Roman puppet king in Parthia but later abandoned. Hadrian, Roman emperor, 117 to 138 AD, reversed Trajan's conquests. The annexation of Arabia Patria, 106 AD. The annexation of Arabia Patria was a significant territorial expansion by the Roman Empire under Emperor Trajan. It marked the absorption of the Nabatean kingdom into the Roman provincial system, transforming it into the province of Arabia Petraea. This annexation was notable for being achieved with minimal military resistance and was crucial for Rome's strategic and economic interests in the Near East. Background and causes. The Nabatean Kingdom. The Nabateans were an Arabian people known for their advanced trade networks and control over key trade routes between Arabia, Egypt, and the Levant. Their capital, Petra, was a wealthy and strategically located city famous for its rock-cut architecture and control over incense, spice, and silk trade routes. The kingdom had been a Roman client state since at least the 1st century BC, maintaining autonomy while paying tribute to Rome. Death of King Rabel II. In 106 AD, the last Nabatean king, Rabel II Soter, died. The lack of a clear heir provided Rome with an opportunity to annex the kingdom without significant resistance. Whether this was done through diplomacy, military intervention, or a mix of both is debated among historians. Strategic and economic motives. Control of trade routes. The Nabateans controlled the lucrative spice trade from southern Arabia to the Mediterranean. Roman imperial expansion. Emperor Trajan pursued aggressive expansionist policies, and annexing Arabia Petraea secured Rome's eastern frontier. Military and security reasons. The annexation provided buffer territory between the Roman provinces of Judea and Syria and potential threats from desert tribes or Parthia. The annexation process, 106 AD. Roman takeover without major resistance. Unlike Trajan's later Parthian campaigns, the annexation of Arabia Petraea was achieved without a major military conflict. Some sources suggest a limited Roman military presence to ensure a smooth transition, but the Nabateans did not appear to resist significantly. The region was reorganized as a Roman province under a governor. Establishment of the province of Arabia Petraea. The new province was called Provincia Arabia Petraea and became part of the Roman imperial system. Petra remained an important administrative and commercial center, though Bostra, modern-day Basra in Syria, became the provincial capital. The province was placed under the authority of a legatus Augusti pro praetor, indicating its military significance. Infrastructure development. The Via Nova Traiana, a major Roman road stretching from Bostra to the Red Sea, was built to facilitate military movement and trade. This road strengthened Roman control over the region, allowing rapid deployment of forces if needed. Aftermath and significance. Economic impact. Arabia Petraea became a key trade hub under Roman rule. Roman taxation of spice, incense, and silk trade increased revenue for the empire. The region continued to thrive economically, though Petra's importance declined over time as trade routes shifted. Military and strategic importance. The annexation secured Rome's southern flank, reducing potential threats from desert raiders. It strengthened Roman control over Judea and Syria, ensuring stability in the east. Long-term Roman rule. The province remained under Roman control for centuries. It played a role in later Roman-Persian conflicts and continued to be an important part of Rome's frontier defenses. Christianity spread in the region during the late Roman and Byzantine periods. Key figures. Trajan ordered the annexation as part of his expansionist policy. Rabel II Soter, Nabatean king, d. 106 AD, the last ruler of Nabatea, whose death facilitated Rome's takeover. Cornelius Palma, the Roman governor of Syria who likely oversaw the annexation. Legacy. The annexation of Arabia Petraea was one of the few examples of peaceful expansion in Roman history. It reinforced Rome's economic strength and military security in the east. The Nabatean culture gradually merged with Roman culture, as seen in architectural influences and administrative structures. Though Petra declined after trade routes shifted, its legacy remains visible in its stunning ruins, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Alimenta Program, Rome's social welfare initiative. The Alimenta program was a social welfare system established by Emperor Trajan in the early 2nd century AD to provide financial assistance to orphans and poor children throughout Italy. It was one of the most notable Roman state-run welfare initiatives, reflecting Trajan's commitment to social justice, economic stability, and the well-being of future generations. Background and purpose. Addressing poverty and population decline. The Roman Empire, despite its prosperity, had significant economic disparities. Many rural families and orphans struggled with poverty. Rome faced concerns over declining birth rates, particularly among Italian farmers. The Alimenta aimed to support children, indirectly encouraging population growth, aiding agriculture and the rural economy. Most beneficiaries were from rural areas, where agricultural production was vital to the empire. By funding poor children, the program helped sustain small landowners and agricultural workers, preventing rural depopulation. Enhancing imperial reputation. Trajan's rule emphasized public welfare and social stability. The Alimenta strengthened the bond between the emperor and the Roman people, reinforcing his image as a benevolent ruler. How the Alimenta program worked. Funding mechanism. The Alimenta was not a direct state handout, but rather an endowment-based loan system. The imperial treasury, fiscus, provided funds, but much of the financing came from private benefactors and local municipalities. Wealthy landowners received low-interest loans from the state. The interest generated from these loans helped fund child welfare payments. Beneficiaries. The program primarily targeted orphans and impoverished children in Italy. Both boys and girls were eligible. Boys received higher amounts due to their future role as citizens and workers. Most beneficiaries came from rural farming communities, though some urban poor also benefited. Distribution of funds. The funds were distributed monthly or at regular intervals. Local municipalities and administrators managed the disbursement. Payments varied but were typically in the form of food aid or financial stipends. Impact of the Alimenta program. Social and economic benefits. Reduced child poverty. Many orphaned and poor children gained access to food and resources. Strengthened agriculture. The loan system ensured investment in rural farms, boosting food production. Encouraged population growth. Families received incentives to have and care for more children. Political and public relations success. Increased loyalty to the emperor. The Alimenta reinforced Trajan's image as a father of the people, pater patriae. Model for future welfare programs. Later emperors expanded social support systems, inspired by the Alimenta. Limitations and decline. The program was costly and required constant loan repayment to sustain funds. It primarily benefited Italy, with little expansion to other provinces. Over time, the program declined due to economic pressures, especially after the 3rd century crisis. Legacy of the Alimenta program. It was one of the earliest large-scale social welfare systems in history. Showcased Rome's ability to combine economic investment with social aid. Set a precedent for later welfare models in European history. Trajan's relationship with the Roman Senate and governance style. Emperor Trajan maintained a cooperative and respectful relationship with the Roman Senate, setting him apart from some of his predecessors, such as Domitian and even Nero, who had alienated the Senate with autocratic policies. Trajan sought to uphold traditional republican values, emphasizing consultation, meritocracy, and efficient governance. His approach earned him the title Optimus Princeps, the best ruler, a rare honor granted by the Senate and the Roman people. Trajan's relationship with the Senate. Contrast with autocratic predecessors. Domitian, 81 to 96 AD, had ruled as a virtual dictator, sidelining the Senate and increasing imperial centralization. His assassination in 96 AD reflected widespread senatorial dissatisfaction. Trajan's predecessor, Nerva, 96 to 98 AD, had attempted to restore senatorial authority, but his brief rule was unstable. Trajan continued Nerva's reforms while avoiding the Senate's resentment. Senate as an advisory body. While ultimate power still rested with the emperor, Trajan actively consulted the Senate on key matters. He emphasized dialogue rather than coercion, making the Senate feel included in governance. This cooperative style restored prestige to the Senate, leading to increased goodwill. Meritocratic appointments. Unlike some emperors who appointed officials based on personal loyalty, Trajan promoted competence over favoritism. Many senators and equestrians, knightly class, gained important positions in administration and the military based on ability, not birthright. Trajan's governance style. Justice and fair administration. Trajan was known for fair legal practices, ensuring that the Roman legal system was not abused by the elite. He cracked down on corruption and extortion, particularly among provincial governors. He encouraged local self-governance, giving cities and provinces more autonomy. Public welfare and infrastructure. Expanded public works, roads, bridges, aqueducts, and harbors. The Alimenta program provided welfare for poor children, promoted economic growth, agriculture, and urban development. Balance between military expansion and internal stability. Unlike some predecessors who pursued reckless conquests, Trajan balanced military success, Dacian and Parthian wars, with domestic stability. Maintained strong but not oppressive control over Rome's vast provinces. Legacy of Trajan's rule. Earned widespread respect from both the Senate and the people. Set a model for future emperors, such as Hadrian, in balancing power with senatorial cooperation. Remembered as a just and capable ruler, exemplified by the title Optimus Princeps, the best ruler. Challenges and final years of Emperor Trajan. Despite his remarkable achievements in military expansion, infrastructure, and governance, Trajan's later years, 113 to 117 AD, were fraught with difficulties. His ambitious Parthian campaign, while initially successful, ultimately proved unsustainable, as local revolts and logistical challenges threatened Rome's control over the newly annexed territories. Furthermore, his health deteriorated rapidly, affecting his ability to govern effectively. His death in 117 AD in Cilicia, modern-day Turkey, left questions surrounding the succession process, particularly regarding the legitimacy of Hadrian's appointment as emperor. The Parthian campaign, 113 to 117 AD triumph and turmoil. Early successes, expansion into the east. In 113 AD, Trajan launched a massive invasion of the Parthian Empire, seeking to avenge Rome's past humiliations and expand Roman control deeper into the east. By 116 AD, he had captured the Parthian capital of Ctesiphon, near modern Baghdad, and annexed Mesopotamia and Armenia, temporarily making them Roman provinces. His conquests marked the greatest territorial extent of the Roman Empire. Challenges and resistance. Unlike his victories in Dacia, which led to stable Roman rule, the conquest of Parthian territories proved far more difficult to maintain. Revolts broke out across Mesopotamia and other eastern regions as local populations resisted Roman rule. The Parthians, though initially overwhelmed, began regrouping and counterattacking, threatening Trajan's newly acquired territories. Jewish revolts in the eastern provinces. Around the same time, the Kitos War 115 to 117 AD erupted, a massive Jewish revolt across Roman-controlled Cyrene, Libya, Egypt, Cyprus, and Mesopotamia. The rebellion was fueled by years of Roman oppression and tensions with local Greek populations. The revolts severely strained Rome's military resources, forcing Trajan to divert troops from the Parthian front to suppress the uprisings. Key turning point. Trajan could not consolidate his gains in the east, and his health issues compounded the empire's instability. Trajan's declining health and governance issues. Deteriorating health. By 116 AD, Trajan's physical condition worsened significantly. Historical sources suggest he may have suffered from a stroke, heart failure, or a serious infection, making active military command difficult. He began delegating more authority to his generals and advisors, including Hadrian, who had remained in the west during the Parthian campaign. Withdrawal from the east. As revolts intensified and his health declined, Trajan realized that Rome could not hold Mesopotamia indefinitely. He ordered a partial withdrawal from the region, but his military campaigns remained unfinished at the time of his death. Legacy of the Parthian campaign. Rome never permanently held Mesopotamia, and Hadrian, upon becoming emperor, abandoned Trajan's eastern conquests, opting for a more defensive strategy. The controversy of Trajan's succession. Did Trajan name Hadrian as successor? One of the most debated aspects of Trajan's final years is whether he officially designated Hadrian as his heir before dying. Hadrian was Trajan's distant cousin and had served as governor of Syria, overseeing military affairs in the east. However, no clear public declaration was made regarding his succession. The role of Plotina, Trajan's wife. According to some ancient sources, Empress Plotina played a crucial role in Hadrian's succession. She was a strong supporter of Hadrian and allegedly orchestrated his ascension by forging documents that stated Trajan adopted Hadrian on his deathbed. convincing a weakened Trajan to make the decision while he was near death. Regardless of the truth, Hadrian quickly consolidated power after Trajan's death, securing his position as the next emperor. Unresolved debate. Was Hadrian's succession a genuine decision by Trajan or a political maneuver by Plotina and imperial officials? Death and legacy. Trajan's death, August 117 AD, Cilicia. In mid-117 AD, while traveling back to Rome, Trajan's health further deteriorated, forcing him to stop in Selinus, modern-day Gazipasa, Turkey, in Cilicia. He died on August 8, 117 AD, before reaching Rome. His body was cremated, and his ashes were placed in the base of Trajan's column in Rome, an unprecedented honor for an emperor. The end of expansionist Rome. His death marked the end of Rome's aggressive expansionist policies. His successor, Hadrian, withdrew from Mesopotamia and focused on strengthening the empire's borders. Despite the failures of the Parthian campaign, Trajan's reign is still seen as the peak of Rome's power and prosperity. Conclusion: a great but imperfect legacy. Achievements: expanded Rome's borders to their greatest territorial extent, fostered senatorial cooperation, and was honored as Optimus Princeps, best ruler. Built monumental infrastructure, including Trajan's Forum and Market. Implemented progressive social policies like the Alimenta welfare program. Challenges in his final years. The Parthian campaign ultimately failed and was abandoned. Massive revolts weakened Rome's eastern provinces. His succession process remains uncertain and possibly manipulated. Final thought. Despite these setbacks, Trajan's reign remains one of the most celebrated in Roman history, embodying the ideals of military strength, good governance, and public welfare. Legacy and impact of Emperor Trajan. Emperor Trajan left an indelible mark on the Roman Empire, shaping its military, political, and architectural legacy for centuries to come. His reign is widely regarded as the zenith of Rome's territorial expansion, economic prosperity, and effective governance. His policies not only strengthened the empire during his lifetime, but also influenced future emperors, including Hadrian, who inherited the vast empire and chose to consolidate rather than expand. Despite the setbacks in his later years, Trajan's reputation endured as a model of imperial leadership, admired by both his contemporaries and later generations. His name became synonymous with justice, military prowess, and effective rule, setting a standard that later rulers aspired to emulate. Rome at its peak, the greatest territorial expansion. Rome's largest territorial extent. Under Trajan, the Roman Empire reached its greatest size in history, stretching from Britain in the west to Mesopotamia in the east. His conquests in Dacia and his temporary annexation of Mesopotamia, 116 AD, marked the last major Roman territorial expansions. The wealth gained from Dacia's gold mines strengthened the empire's economy, military funding, and infrastructure projects. The end of expansionist Rome. After Trajan's death, Rome abandoned an aggressive expansionist policy. His successor, Hadrian, withdrew from Mesopotamia, recognizing that its defense was unsustainable. Future emperors would instead focus on fortifying borders, Hadrian's Wall, Antonine Wall, and the Limes Germanicus, rather than conquering new lands. Long-term impact. Trajan's conquests represented the height of Roman imperial ambition, but they also highlighted the challenges of overextension, leading future emperors to prioritize defensive strategies. Architectural and engineering achievements. Trajan's Forum and Market. One of the most ambitious architectural projects in Rome, built to celebrate his Dacian victories, included a basilica, libraries, and an enormous open plaza, showcasing Rome's wealth and grandeur. Trajan's Market, a multi-level shopping complex, is considered the world's first large-scale commercial center. Trajan's Column, a marble column standing 98 feet, 30 meters, high, depicting the story of the Dacian Wars through intricate relief carvings. One of the best-preserved Roman monuments, serving as historical propaganda for his military success. Innovative design. It was the first column to feature a continuous spiral narrative, influencing later monuments, e.g., Marcus Aurelius' Column. Infrastructure development. Trajan prioritized public infrastructure, constructing roads, bridges, harbors, and aqueducts to improve connectivity across the empire. His Alcantara Bridge in Spain remains one of the finest examples of Roman engineering. The port of Trajan at Ostia expanded Rome's trade capacity, strengthening commercial networks across the Mediterranean. Long-term impact. Trajan's architectural projects symbolized Rome's prosperity and power, many of which remain standing today as testaments to Roman engineering excellence. Governance and public welfare, a model emperor. Meritocratic and efficient administration. Trajan promoted officials based on competence rather than aristocratic birth, ensuring effective governance. He actively toured the provinces, personally addressing administrative issues and provincial concerns. His legal reforms improved governor accountability, reducing corruption in the provinces. The Alimenta program, a revolutionary social welfare system. One of the earliest forms of state-sponsored welfare, providing financial aid to poor children and orphans across Italy. Funded through state loans to landowners, with the interest used for child welfare programs. Ensured long-term economic stability and social mobility by investing in future generations. Long-term impact. His meritocratic governance and welfare policies influenced later emperors, setting a precedent for effective and socially responsible leadership. The Senate's admiration and the Optimus Princeps title, a rarely bestowed honor. Unlike emperors who sought absolute control, Trajan cooperated with the Senate, consulting them on major decisions. His balanced leadership earned him the title Optimus Princeps, the best ruler, a distinction given by the Senate as a mark of ultimate respect. Future emperors, even those with autocratic tendencies, sought to align themselves with Trajan's legacy to gain legitimacy. The ultimate compliment for future emperors. Even centuries later, the Roman Senate would still invoke his name as a model of leadership. When new emperors were crowned, the Senate would offer the wish, "May you be more fortunate than Augustus and better than Trajan." This statement encapsulated Trajan's ideal balance of military success, effective governance, and public approval. Long-term impact. Trajan set the gold standard for Roman emperors, with his name becoming synonymous with wise and just leadership. Trajan's reputation through history. Admired by later generations. Medieval and Renaissance scholars viewed Trajan as a paragon of virtue, citing him as one of Rome's greatest emperors. Dante Alighieri, in the Divine Comedy, placed Trajan in paradise, making him one of the few pagan rulers to be saved in Christian tradition. A lasting model for leadership. Even outside of Rome, rulers throughout history have sought to emulate Trajan's leadership style, blending military strength, infrastructure development, and public welfare. His reign represents the height of Rome's capabilities, marking the transition from conquest to consolidation. Conclusion. The enduring legacy of Trajan. Achievements. Greatest territorial expansion in Roman history. Extensive public works and architectural masterpieces, Trajan's Forum, Market, and Column. Introduced progressive social policies, Alimenta program. Strengthened imperial administration and provincial governance. Maintained senatorial cooperation, earning him the title Optimus Princeps. Challenges and limitations. His eastern conquests proved unsustainable, leading to their abandonment by Hadrian. The Kitos War, Jewish revolt, weakened Rome's control in the east. His succession process remains controversial, as some suspect Hadrian's appointment was politically manipulated. Final thought. Trajan's reign remains the gold standard for what a Roman emperor should be. His legacy influenced both his immediate successors and later historical rulers. Even centuries later, his name stood as a benchmark for effective and just governance. Trajan was not just a conqueror. He was a builder, a reformer, and a leader who shaped the Roman world for generations to come. Conclusion. The enduring legacy of Emperor Trajan. Emperor Trajan's reign stands as a pivotal era in Roman history, marking the apex of Rome's territorial expansion, administrative efficiency, and architectural grandeur. His leadership style combined military brilliance, civic responsibility, and a progressive vision for governance, setting a precedent for future rulers. Trajan's ability to balance military conquest with domestic prosperity made him one of Rome's most revered leaders. His conquests in Dacia and the East, while ambitious, showcased Rome's military dominance, though the challenges of overextension became evident. His public works, from Trajan's Forum to the Alimenta welfare system, demonstrated a commitment to long-term stability and social welfare, ensuring the empire's prosperity extended beyond his reign. Beyond his military and political achievements, Trajan's legacy shaped imperial ideals for centuries. His cooperation with the Senate and his title of Optimus Princeps, the best ruler, solidified his reputation as a model emperor, one whom future rulers sought to emulate. Even centuries later, his name was evoked as a benchmark for just and effective rule, an emperor who embodied the strength and virtues of Rome at its peak. Why Trajan's story still matters today. Trajan's life and reign offer invaluable lessons on leadership, governance, and the challenges of managing vast power. His ability to balance military expansion with civil progress, maintain a stable political system, and leave behind a lasting infrastructural and administrative legacy is a testament to his unparalleled vision. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Trajan's life, be sure to explore more content on our channel. From Rome's legendary beginnings to its eventual decline, we cover the most fascinating stories of the ancient world. Like, comment, and subscribe to CyberTheo for more historical explorations. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.